Okay, thank you. So we'll move to open communications. So if you have something that you would, if any of the members, community members watching, if you would like to speak on something that is not an agenda item, now is the time to raise your hand. And before I ask Ms. Sandoval for the number of speakers, I'm going to read our announcement. As we continue to be open for in-person meetings, members of the public are welcome to attend in person. Watch us live via the live stream video under the Community tab on our website or on TV via cable TV channel 26 and 1084. There are several opportunities for members of the public to provide public comment. Written public comment will continue to be accepted in advance of the meeting from those attending in person and from those participating remotely by phone or audio during the live meeting. The board respects the right of the public to comment on board matters. However, the board is entitled to and will limit each speaker to 3 minutes or less. If you are joining us in person, speaker cards must be submitted to the administrative assistant before the agenda item is called. Additional speakers will not be added after that. If you are dialing in by phone or joining via video, speaker hands must be raised at the time the item is called. Additional speakers will not be added after that. As a reminder to those of you joining us remotely, your phone and/or laptop must be used as a microphone, and you must still stream the meeting live via our website or via cable TV to hear and watch us. Please note that in all cases, we will make every effort to take public comment from students first. Speech or conduct that is disruptive, threatening, abusive, defamatory, or impedes the orderly conduct of the board is not allowed. At the discretion of the presiding officer or board, anyone who disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of a board meeting may be required to exit the virtual meeting or in-person meeting. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation. Ms. Sandoval, how many speakers do we have?
We are currently at 13. I have 2 remote and the rest here.
Okay, so with 13 speakers, that is 2 minutes per speaker. All right, please call the speakers.
Jose Cuevas. Jose Cuevas, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
As I was saying, good evening, respected trustees and superintendent. My name is Jose Cuevas, and I'm the father of 2 children attending Blakeo Elementary. This is the second time in 2 months that I have the privilege to share with you all a concern that is affecting quite a few families at 5 different schools. This concern and disappointment has to do with the lack of a before and after school program at Blakeo Elementary and some other sites. In my previous comments, I pointed out that this is a clear example of inequity that the district isn't able to prevent. Families like mine have been using their limited savings to pay outside school daycares that cost double than those programs offered at other sites. This has been happening since August of 2021. So as all of you may imagine, our money is flying away and the district is incapable of finding a solution. Right after the meeting held on December the 8th, I took the time to send an email to the superintendent office offering different options to be considered. After the explanations given by Mr. Kamak right after my public comment, I was under the impression that the district was betting all its efforts to wait for a vendor. Since I never obtained a response to my email, I thought that tonight the respected trustees as well as Mr. Kamak may be willing to listen to those options in person. I always believed that the more, the merrier. Has the district explored staffing that much needed program with in-house employees? Has the district thought about extending the cafeteria hours before and after the bell schedule? Has the district considered staffing the program by hiring through new openings? Has the district explored the idea of providing bus shuttles to pick up and drop off students from the closest sites where that program is being offered? And last, has the district thought about providing some financial aid to those families being affected by this clear example of inequity? I look forward to hearing your thoughts on these options and finding a solution to this ongoing issue. Thanks for your valuable time.
Thank you, Mr. Cuevas. next.
Hayes Shayer.
Good evening, board. Thank you very much for taking my public comment. My name is Hayes Scher, and I am speaking on the topic of the Mandarin and Spanish immersion program this evening. While this topic is not on the agenda, I am compelled to speak this evening. I have a daughter in first and a son in kinder. I'm also part of the MIP Parents for Unification group and want to thank the work of the district and the task force, which recommended unification of the program at Bringhurst Elementary last evening in their last meeting. My group has compiled a list of 123 parents who currently support unification from both campuses in a short 4-day time as a first priority for our community. This count continues to climb by the day. We urge the board to respect the recommendation and the hard work of the task force and proceed with unification for our program. We also urge you to do so without delay, as there are many families waiting to enroll and determine their status in the program. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I do have one other hand that has been raised since then.
Okay.
Sandy Tor. Sandy Tor, go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for taking the time out to listen in. I'm a PTA member at Vallejo Mill Elementary, and would like to bring attention to the board here that our school has not had a science teacher since the beginning of this school year. I know there's a shortage, and I know that you are trying your best to fill those positions, but I feel like in the meanwhile, there should be something done about giving additional or supplemental programs to the teachers to help them out, whether that is science kits or giving them funding to purchase extra materials for that, to do labs. I don't want to see our students miss out on the hands-on work, even though our teachers are trying their best to do the curriculum. It's the hands-on that's going to really get the students' attention and the learning happening. So we have tried to reach out and we have kind of hit a wall. So my hope is that bringing that to your attention will help move something forward so that we can get some support in getting some support from you so that the PTA can help our teachers who are struggling during this time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Sandoval?
Toby Black. And Alaric Robinson to follow. I'll take those, sir.
Awesome. One for each board.
Thank you. There you go.
Good evening. My name is Toby Black. I am the president of CB Management Group, one half of the CB Management Group, Jenkins Gales Martinez joint venture construction management team that is actually managing or was managing the Rick Sklanker Early Learning Center project. The reason why I'm here is because our invoices have not been paid. October invoice is now 90 days overdue. November invoice is 60 days, and December is the latest. Associate Superintendent Pfeiffer has not paid our invoices. She requested additional information when we submitted. We complied, and we didn't get paid until December for August and September. And we still have not gotten paid for October and November and December. Our invoices did not start becoming late until Associate Superintendent Pfeiffer joined Fremont Unified School District. We have requested meetings with her to discuss this, and she has evaded us each time. In November of last year, our fees were running out on our contract, and we were asked by the Fremont Unified School District to provide a proposal to extend our contract. And so we did, and doing so, we also continued working and providing services in good faith that our contract was going to be extended. In December of last year, We were notified December 20th that the contract will not be extended. And so at no time were we ever told until then. During this, we were also told within the same email from Associate Superintendent Pfeiffer that she'll be transitioning these services to another construction management team. We found out that team was Suguri Marafini Architects, and that firm is not in the pre-qualified pool, in which all of the construction management firms who are in the pre-qualified pool competed to get, and they were given a non-compete contract for construction management services. And it looks like my time is up.
Yep.
And we would like to...
Can you wrap it up since your
Yes.
time is... Thank you.
We would like to continue working with the Fremont Unified School District, but we would like to, I sent you guys an email, or I sent the board an email, what I've handed to Ms. Sandoval. You can go into more detail there. We would like to continue working with the district, but we would also like to be paid.
Thank you.
If you want to continue further, like, you work together, I would like, we can meet, talk, whatever, but we would just like to be paid.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity to speak to the board. Can everybody hear me? Just to elaborate on what Mr. Black has said, the lack of timely payment to not only our company, but to the general contractor and to his subs and other vendors that we contracted with to complete the Ricks Glenkler project is what's led to the time extensions that have been requested either by change order for unforeseen conditions or by simply some vendors, key vendors, our abatement and selective demolition contractor, for example, pulled off the site prior to August. Then we also had Millennium, the hazmat consulting company, who was to review and approve all of their work, pulled off the site as well for lack of payment. So as a construction manager for the project, it put me in a position and our company in a position to have to jump over hoops to try to keep this thing on track. And so when people talk about the original contract and duration time, I want to go back to the original bid documents that were sent out in March 13th, 2021. Phase 1 of the project was to be completed on August the 4th. Phase 2, which involved Building A and Building F, was never to be completed until January 28th. So just wanted to clarify for the record the construction process and the challenges that we had on the job. And as Toby has iterated, we do need to have timely payment, not just for us, but just to keep the vendors involved and engaged to complete the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sandoval?
Rocio Cole and Misha Vaughn.
Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Rocio Cole, and because I'm native Spanish speaker, I'm going to speak first in Spanish. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Rocio Cole. Estoy aquí representando a la preparatoria American High School. Asimismo, estoy representando al comité de la asociación PTSA como miembro ejecutivo. Quiero agradecer la oportunidad de poder platicar esta noche, de poder participar y darle retroalimentación como padre de familia y que siempre estamos velando por los intereses de nuestros hijos. Asimismo, invitar a otros padres de familia que hablen español, que no tengan vergüenza a venir a participar, a dar sus dudas, sus preguntas y que se escuche la voz en español aquí también en el distrito. Mi tema de hoy es sobre el patio, sobre la sombra del patio de los estudiantes cuando toman ellos su receso. Tenemos la necesidad de que los estudiantes siempre están buscando por la sombra y en realidad también siempre están buscando por un lugar seguro porque siempre hay muchas gaviotas volando ahí. Eso es como ejemplo. Pues mi hija está en 10º grado y siempre que toma su descanso está preocupada de dónde se va a sentar y dónde va a haber sombra y que no vaya a haber ningún accidente con las gaviotas. Por eso le pido al distrito que si podría apoyarnos con proporcionando la sombra para American High School. Gracias por su tiempo. Now I'm going to speak in English. So my name is Rocio Kiul. I'm here representing American High School as well as the Executive Board for American High School PTSA. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak up tonight and for listening to the parents and the feedback that we're seeing at the school and the emerging need. I wish to address the issue of the cover for the outdoor seating at American High School. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Misha Vaughn. Thanks very much for the time to address you tonight. By the way, good job, Rocio. For being a non-native English speaker, I'm very proud of you. Took a lot of guts. I'm here on behalf of the American High School PTSA, as well as the American High School PTSA Safety Committee. One of the issues that was brought to our attention by the students, faculty, and staff of American was the urgent need for fixed outdoor overhead coverings during the lunchtime period. We have a very large student body. It's a growing student body. And right now, they have no place to convene, to gather when they are during their lunch period. Their only alternative is to cram inside. No one wants that with kids often, especially during a time that has become more endemic than pandemic now. And so now they gather outside. When it rains, they sort of sit in the mud. When it's sunny, they huddle as best as they can under shade. So anything that the board can do when looking particularly at the budget for next year, looking at funding fixed outdoor overhead coverings would be greatly appreciated by everybody concerned. Thanks so much for your time and attention tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Sandoval?
Kate Wu and Justin Valencia. Felix Lechner to follow that as well.
Hi, my name is Kate Wu. In a survey conducted by the district over Christmas, I voted against the unification of the MIP program. In your last meeting, Trustee Rachel John said that MIP parents are adamant to unify the program. Her statement is utterly false. I know that because I have saw the results of the survey. They are available on the district website. A full 55% of parents, and therefore a majority, voted against unification. Fremont is a large enough city. Diversifying the program locations can serve more families and even attract families to the school district. Having one campus at the most expensive part of the city will make the program out of reach for many. Lila Bringhurst is a brand new school, but the dense location will cause a lot of pain for many families. As the survey result shows, the new building is not a top priority for many people. Just because Bringhurst needs more enrollment, it is not a reason to sacrifice families who do not wish to attend that location. MIP resided at Azevedo for many years, and the students performed very well despite it being a much older school. Therefore, I plead with the board, please help families and students keep MIP at multiple locations. Don't just tell the majority of the MIP parents, as Trustee Sweeney puts it, if they turn down a new school, it's on them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, trustees and district management. My name is Justin Valencia, and I'm a teacher at Horner Middle School. Last time I was here in person, I believe that was back, and I want to say September or August, and I was here complaining about, well, Williams complaints, because our site, the buildings, people were melting, kids were, it was upwards of 80 degrees in rooms, students were complaining, staff were complaining, and I come again because, well, I noticed at the last board meeting on consent calendar, those same Williams complaints were unresolved. Because I know I mentioned the middle school, and I'm pretty sure it's our middle school because up until today, actually, the heat was not working in the A building. And when one of our buildings in the classroom, heat was not working. Students and staff were freezing. And we put in a Williams complaint December 6th, which was 51 days ago, 25 working days. And only today did someone from the construction company come over, flick a switch, and fix it in 1 minute. I don't know why we need to wait 1 month for a 1 minute fix when people were freezing in their rooms. We also have another room, the computer room. 30 computers generate a lot of heat, and our computer teacher with their students, kids are complaining. It's upwards of 78 degrees in the heat of winter, and we're not even in spring yet. I don't know what we need to do to get these complaints solved. I complained here before. I'll gladly complain here again. I've contacted the superintendent before. People are sent over, they come and check things out, and then they go away and it's not fixed. So I don't know what else I need to do, but my staff are tired of having to constantly complain to get bare necessities done like HVAC that should have been fixed way before August and in-person instruction. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Felix Lechner. I'm in my 9th year as a library commissioner for the city of Fremont. I also serve as the secretary of your local accountability committee. Both bodies are subject to the Brown Act. President Jones, I believe this body violated the state meeting laws during a discussion of item 16.6 at your most recent meeting on January 12th. The topic was the opening of Lila Bringhurst. As a careful examination of the video will show, Trustee Sweeney tried to impress upon this solemn body and upon district staff that it would be okay to disregard the results of a survey among Mandarin parents. He continued to press on, even after Superintendent Kamek reminded everyone that the item was not scheduled. The parents voted against unification by a majority of 55% and against Bringhurst as a location by a factor of 2 to 1. After your last meeting, the school called a 48-hour emergency conference with all Mandarin parents. The invite promised that the MIP task force will recommend the unification before the group had a chance to meet. At the conference, the principals discredited the survey and described the results as raw data. With probably 25 years of service, Trustee Sweeney is the dominant force on this body. Is Trustee Sweeney trying to remedy the error of having upsized Bringhurst? Or was there a secret agreement with the former head of CIPCF, Jeff Bowen, who also served in a bond measure oversight capacity to move the Mandarin program upon Bringhurst's completion? The public trust is in the balance. President Jones, please cancel the upcoming board retreat on Saturday. The risk is too great that the conduct of your colleagues will continue there. I also ask that you please delay the vote on the move of the Mandarin program from February 23 until such time that all affected parents can be informed of what took place here. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Ms. Sandoval, are there additional speakers?
There are. Aparna Kara, Jessica Shi, followed by Murray Hughes and Brandon Dorsey.
Hello, good evening everyone. I'm Aparna Karra. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Good evening everyone. I'm Aparna Karra here. I represent American High School PTSA board, and I have a senior and a freshman at American High School. We've been part of this community since kindergarten. 17 years now. We are very happy. We love our school. We love American High. From Brookville to Taunton, the whole community, I just love it. Thank you so much. I'm here to represent PTSA, American High PTSA, an urgent need like what my friends have requested before, Misha and Roshu, about the coverings. I'm here to just give a personal story. My daughter is a freshman at ninth grader, and in November when the rains were high, they didn't have place to sit and eat. There is no outdoor covering. So they had to go sit in the mud, sit down, have their lunch, and when they stand up, unfortunately, all her dress has been spoiled with wet mud, and they had to tie her jacket to cover that. Otherwise, people are calling it, oh, there's poop on your back. So, you know, how embarrassing that could be. So just to solve that, Please, we request an urgent need for an outdoor covering. Please consider that and help us with AHS. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Dear trustee, superintendent, my name is Jessica Xie. I'm a parent of 9th and 12th graders at American High School. I'm here today as a concerned parent to request the school board to consider an urgently needed investment in overhead coverings for American High School. I applaud the staff at American High for doing their best to follow the health protocols from the state, county, and district. However, I'm concerned about the lack of overhangs in the outdoor eating areas. My senior daughter told me that during lunchtime, there are always seagulls flying around in flocks up in the sky above the lunch area, and it makes the students prone to getting hit by the waste which they drop. This and the feathers that the seagulls often drop on students' food is extremely unsanitary. Furthermore, when the birds all come flying on a massive flock, the students, who are often in the middle of eating and unmasked, panic and run around. This kind of chaos is especially harmful during the ongoing pandemic. In order to have our students to have a safe place to eat, please consider this urgently needed request as a part of your funding considerations for infrastructure at American High School. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marie Hughes, and I just have a small comment about collecting feedback. First, I want to thank the board for continuing to allow people to submit feedback in writing and not come to the board meeting, even though we now have in-person board meetings. However, the Tuesday noon deadline is really short for a lot of people. Teachers are still teaching, students are in school, people are working at work. Sometimes items are delayed like this week, so we have very little time to evaluate them and formulate our feedback. I understand staff needs a certain amount of time to collect everything up and add it to the packets, but I'm asking for you to extend the deadline to a little later in the day, say maybe like 6 p.m., so that people are not so rushed and can use this mechanism more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sandoval, are there any other speakers?
I have one more, Brandon Dorsey.
Okay, and just for those of you who don't know, Mrs. Dorsey is the president of FUDTA, and as such, will have 5 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Trustee Jones, President Jones, and Superintendent Kamak, and trustees. I'm Brandon Dorsey, President of the Fremont Unified District Teachers Association. Ms. Sandoval is handing out some handouts to you. And you know I miss teaching first grade, so I brought you handouts. But this is actually a serious matter. You will probably see some of these same handouts, slides, because they are in one of your later board presentations, because they're from school services. And I wanted to talk to you about salary negotiations. As you probably learned in closed session, we did present our first salary offer to you, and this was what was presented to your bargaining team. But I wanted to give some context, and I'm sorry I couldn't be here before you went into closed session, but I had mom duties. The most poignant slide is in the middle of the packet, and it says, first year Fremont teacher, if you want to follow along with me. A first year teacher in Fremont makes, if they're right out of college, they make about $70,000, which if you were like me and grew up in the Central Valley, that was a lot of money. But today it's not. And when you factor in all the basic living costs, rent, which is about, for a studio apartment, is about $21,000 a year. All your statutory taxes. If you want health insurance for FUSD, that's over $8,000 a year that we have to pay out of pocket. If you add up all the expenses, and nothing fancy, gas, food, internet, probably student loan payments, car insurance, car payment, I'm not talking clothes or entertainment or anything. Your first year teacher is in the hole every single month. What happens if you need new tires? Or, you know, other things happen. If your car breaks down, what happens to that teacher? Our first year teachers should not be living at the poverty level. I love sports, and I want the best players for my team every single year. I want first round draft picks. I want to work with first round draft picks in my district. We don't attract first round draft picks if they end up in the hole every single month. We need competitive pay. We need to start really thinking about benefits. And when we end up with the over $55 million in reserves, well, 73, somewhere around there. It was a lot. It was a big number. We have to do better. When we have a stable funding coming from the state for the first time in multiple years, we have to do better. We need to attract the best people who will stay here, because that's not just good for me, it's good for our students. And that is why we are here, to educate students. That's why I'm a teacher. That's why I've dedicated my life to being a teacher. That's why I put in countless hours on nights and weekends. And when the pandemic hit, that's why I worked all summer training myself, as many of our educators did, to be ready, because I knew I wouldn't be prepared otherwise, on my own, for no pay. We have held this district together. We deserve to be compensated for that. Please look this over and remember, you want first round draft picks, not fifth. Thank you.
Thank you, President Dorsey. Ms. Sandoval, are there any other speakers?
I do have a remote speaker who I believe logged on much later after we've had taken the cards. I don't know if it's for this item or for the next one.
Okay, for the person who has raised your hand, if you're raising your hand for an agenda item, please lower it. If it's for open public comment, okay, I think that has disappeared now. Okay, so we're going to assume that that was for an agenda item. Is that it for public comment, Ms. Sandoval?
Yes.
Mr. Superintendent, is there anything that you would like to address from public comment?
Thank you, President Jones. Yes, as has been noted many times in the boardroom, the trustees are unable to respond to public comment under the Brown Act. A few just points of interest so that trustees can be aware in the community as well. Happy to follow up with parents who have asked for additional communication. I think generally that's a pattern that we're successful with. If any have fallen through the gaps, I'll be sure that we follow up with that. In terms of the public comments regarding a construction management company, I will follow up with those individuals as well. No communication has been provided to me from that agency, which would be the normal sequence of events to address those to me first. And I can schedule a meeting with those individuals to review the information we have about invoices paid and what has been stated to be delivered in the project and that progress. Also, for American High School, we have been in contact with the principal. We are evaluating options for temporary structures, understanding that a more permanent option requires DSA approval and maybe a longer term. And I apologize to the student and parent community that we haven't gotten better communication out to you on those updates. But it is something that we have been looking at and working on, getting quotes and trying to find some solution there. But we haven't been able to move forward formally with anything, but we will follow up with additional communication on those items. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We're moving to